Hi, I'm Shelby Barnhart, the owner of Arc & Hammer. This is Introduction to Mig Welding, where you will learn how to run a basic MIG weld bead so you can do repairs at home or start some artistic projects in your home garage. We're going to cover the basics of how to set up your equipment, the safety, and the process of running a MIG weld bead and troubleshooting. Let's get started. Some of the basic safety items and tools you're going to need are a pair of mid-weight MIG welding gloves. These are just enough material on them to feel what you're doing without getting burned. You're going to want a pair of safety glasses to wear under your welding mask at all times. This is just a good safety practice. You're going to need an auto shade or auto darkening MIG welding helmet. You can find these at Tractor Supply, Walmart, Home Depot. You can get them from anywhere from $70 to up to $500 depending on what you're looking for. This one here probably costs around $90. It's a great starter helmet. You can probably get them, this one's from Tractor Supply, I believe. Very easy to find. You're also going to need a pair of MIG welding pliers. On here you can see that there is a blade. This is to trim your wire on your MIG gun, as well as pliers to clean off the end of your welding tip. You're going to want a wire brush. This is just one basic way of cleaning your material before you weld. There's lots and lots of methods. You can use a grinder, acetone, sandpaper, sanding discs, but this is the cheapest and easy way to start. You're also going to want to wear some type of long sleeve that has a medium weight. Flannels are perfectly fine, especially if you're a beginner. You don't want to invest in an expensive welding coat or leathers right away. So today I'm going to be using this flannel jacket. I also have this long sleeve on. This would be too thin. You'd most likely burn holes in it. Other safety precautions are you want to wear all cotton or wool clothing and closed-toed shoes. No sneakers with netting, no sandals, nothing like that sparks are going to get trapped in, possibly light your socks on fire. Any polyester, unnatural materials not only burn and catch fire, but they will also melt to you. Whereas cotton catches on fire but won't stick to your skin and you can put it out easily. I also suggest that you have a fire extinguisher nearby in case you light something on fire, and take a look at your surroundings. You don't want any papers, leaves, anything flammable near your workspace because MIG welding does create sparks. All right, if you have long hair, you're also going to want to have to hair tie, put it up in a bun or ponytail. If it's really long, do a bun. Otherwise, if your ponytail drapes down farther, you could possibly melt it, burn it, sparks will touch it. Just not a good idea. So you always want to tie your hair back. Or you can wear a welding cap, which will protect the top of your hair from any sparks landing on your head. And we're going to go over the basics of your MIG torch. This is your gun. You can see here that the wire is sticking out and it's a little too long. So you would take your pliers to trim it. See how it sticks out the end. Pinch it, depending on how sharp they are. Pull it off, and that leaves you with a very nice length. I'm going to show you right now how gummed up the end of my MIG torch is. You can see all of these little pieces. If your torch end here in the cup is full of what we call boogers, this is going to cause issues during your weld. You're going to have a very dirty weld. You want to make sure that this is clean. So depending on your plier size, you can either fit your pliers in there and pull it around, or simply grab the end of your cup, pull it off. You can see there, it's pretty dirty. And then you take your pliers, twist them around inside. That gets all of the nasty stuff out that could possibly clog the gas flow coming out of your tip. See, it's nice and clean now. So cup is clean. This is your copper tip. This also has some gunky buildup on it. You want to keep this clean. Occasionally, what you might do while you're learning is you might touch the tip here to the part you're working on, which will melt this wire to the end. If this happens, sometimes you can pull it off with your pliers. Otherwise, this just twists off and you can replace it. So it's not a big deal. Usually your kits come with lots of extras. You can grab them from any welding supply store or online. It's good to have a few of those on hand while you're learning because that probably will happen. So you always want to make sure that your tip is on there nice and snug. And push your cup back onto the proper setting. You don't want your tip to protrude past your cup. So right flush with it is where you'd like it. If it goes past farther, you're going to stick it to your material, which is what you don't want. Now for your auto darkening helmet, depending on the brand you have, it's always good to hit the inside test button, if you can see this here. Inside here, you can see your knobs and your test button. If you push your test button while looking through it, the screen is going to flash over from green to dark. That means that it's charged and it's safe to use. If it doesn't flash over, you're going to want to charge it or replace the batteries. Otherwise, you're going to hurt your eyes from the light given off from the weld. Now for MIG welding, I suggest that you have the delay on sensitive. This makes it flash over faster. And if you have the numbers in your helmet, I suggest around a 9. This is a good dark shade so that the bright light won't bother your eyes. Anything darker and it's just going to be too hard to see.
Now we're going to go over the machine setup. Today I'll be using a Miller-Matic 180. This runs off of a 220 plug. You could use a 110 welder, but you would need to use thinner material such as 1/8 inch. Today we're using a 1/4 inch thick material for the project. Go ahead and turn your machine on. Your top dial is for your wire thickness. Today I'm using 030, so I have it set to that. The bottom dial is going to be your material thickness. This is your heat setting. I am using 1/4 inch, which is number 9 on my dial. Every machine and brand looks different on the front, so if you ever have any questions about how to set your machine, you can open up the side panel and there is a chart that shows you every setting for the thickness of material that your machine can handle, as well as the gas and welding wire thickness. This comes in handy, especially during troubleshooting. For MIG welding, we use a 75-25 mixture gas. This is 75% argon, 25% CO2. You want to go ahead and open your tank all the way. This ensures that you have proper gas flow while welding. This left-hand gauge is going to show the pressure coming out of your welding torch or gun when in use. Mine's set too high right now, so we're going to back it off with this valve to about 20 when we hit the gun. This right-hand gauge is showing the current pressure inside this tank. There is plenty to begin welding. Now we're going to begin to prep our material for welding. You're going to use your wire brush and aggressively go back and forth on your pieces of material to get them as clean as possible. This will ensure a solid weld. Once this is done, you're going to go ahead and create almost a T shape with your material and tack weld either end to create our joints. When you're tack welding, count to 2 while holding down the trigger. We're going to use the cursive E technique. You can weld either to the right hand side or the left, depending on your preference, but you're moving your welding gun just like you were doing in cursive. Remember to keep the spacing of the cup on your MIG gun a 1/4 inch away from your material. You want the sound of the weld to be like frying bacon. If you're making lots of popping noises, that means you are too far away and you need to move the end of the gun closer. Be sure to practice on both sides of your joint and try either direction to see which is most comfortable for you. Keep your MIG gun angled at a 45-degree angle when welding. Anything more aggressive and your weld will not get proper gas flow. There you have it. You should have a weld bead. The more you practice, the more uniform they will look, and you can get them to look like stacked dimes, but it does take lots of weld practice.
Congratulations on doing your first MIG weld bead. I'd love to see your progress as you keep practicing. Stay tuned and we'll have more videos available of projects you can do once you're comfortable MIG welding. Thanks for taking the class. I can't wait to hear from you all.